opinions on any of your
SpeaX.
social media platforms.
Yeah.
We just asked you to tag us, Yeah. All right, that looks good. Now let me get this.
Thanks, everybody. Yours, well, yeah, so you can get that. Yeah. I was trying to move because it was hitting. I mean, it's the way I had it, so I was trying to move it out of the way. Is that so I
I
need
need
to turn
this
it?
part, yeah.
Now, I'm gonna ask this.
Yes.
Do you mind if I snap a few pics, or is that?
Oh,
against-
yes.
No,
Take
that's
a
cool.
lot of pics.
Okay.
Okay?
Do I need to slide more? Just to the
Oh,
right?
yeah, if you
To
want to
get-
always stay in it, yeah. Slide over.
Nah, 'cause I should be. Yeah, I should be in it the whole time. Yeah. Because even when I look,
We'll be starting in like in 3 minutes.
Good.
give yourself a buck.
Give you a break to calm down and stuff like that. Just went ahead and started recording.
Get relaxed, get your break. You
Yeah.
got them both.
Well, I'm not worried about this. I'm more worried about this. I can feel my.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm trying to get.
You have some
Do you want
painkillers?
water?
Huh?
You need some water?
No, I don't think. I think I'm good as far as that's concerned. It's just when it happened, I didn't realize I had cut myself because it was such a clean cut.
Oh, bad.
And then when I realized it was like by then it was all everywhere, and I'm like, ugh. So the lady was real nice. She took me in the department store, took me in the back room. She's like, we're gonna get y'all bandaged
wow.
up. So,
That was good. That was good.
So what are you picking up costumes for?
Well, it's for, part of it was pieces for me, as far as the show is concerned, and then one was a piece that a young lady, this is her first time doing anything burlesque, and but it's the weirdest thing. I'll say it like this, because I said I don't want to demean you because you're a hard-working woman.
Right.
She is an adult entertainer. We'll just put it that way.
Okay.
And
Hey, look, some of my best friends.
and we've gotten together about 2 or 3 times. We've had coffee and we've had went and had dinner one time, and she was just talking about we clicked when it came to the similarities as far as we're really big into the 1920s, 1930s music and the dance and just that whole the dress,
Yeah, that whole era.
all that whole era. So there was a dress that I picked up for her. It was the beaded sequin, and it had the little tassels at the bottom, and so
I'm writing down.
Just didn't think I would cut my finger off in the process.
Oh, you couldn't pull them up either.
You do every performance. I feel like you do singing.
I sing, I dance, and I do stand-up comedy.
Oh, shit. Okay. I'm trying to break into that field. No.
Well, you talking about stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
Well, I will say this.
Sit down.
I will say this. I hide behind my stand-up comedy, and I don't consider people call it drag. I don't
Yeah.
consider it drag. Because to me, drag is more of a lifestyle.
Okay.
What I do is it's kind of similar to what Tyler Perry does. Gets on stage,
yeah.
he makes people laugh, and then as soon as it's over with, he takes it off.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we're definitely going to revisit that conversation once we kick this off.
But yeah.
Because I like the distinction between the two. But I like, shit, RuPaul is killing it.
Yeah.
I will have to say, the man looks better as a woman. Man.
Than he do. I mean, he does.
He does.
He do. Yeah.
But he has this new show. I just heard my daughter was telling me about it, and saying like she loved the show. So
What's the name of
I
it?
think it's like Runway.
RuPaul's Drag Race. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
something like that. Yeah. And it was like
It's been around forever.
Oh, really?
It's been around
Oh, I
forever.
didn't know that. I thought it was.
Yeah, basically what he does is he just brings a bunch of drag queens from all across the country, and they compete to see who's better.
Right, right.
Ah,
And then every week, one of them gets kicked off.
Oh.
we need to do that for where's the stripper drag race?
The stripper drag race.
I'm about to
So you
start
can't,
it.
you can't say stripper drag. The drag part is the dressing up. So
Okay,
you have to
so,
put it like the stripper race,
or
like the best pole dancer
stripper
type of
pole.
thing. I think we got a show.
Oh, because there's a pole at the racetrack.
No,
It's-
no.
No, you know, they have to, you know what I'm talking about, the pole, how do they call it?
I don't know. It's a pole at the racetrack.
No, it's a terminology they use, like you
Oh.
have to, your time in a pole or something.
Uh-huh.
I need to look it up, because now in my mind,
Okay,
I'm
well,
thinking about,
you just look it up.
I got a business idea, we about to make some.
Because RuPaul, yeah, I've heard of that show on VH1, right? Yeah.
It's one of those
Okay.
channels like that.
Yeah. it's
Yeah, I don't watch it. I had a friend of mine one time. I was over at her house and she just happened to have it on. But I don't get to watch much of anything. I work 5-6 days a week, so.
I understand, from work and then here and then editing and stuff you do, you go ahead and take a minute just a little bit, because I'm just be sitting on it all
I
the
need to
time.
watch more TV. I tried to watch the debate. I tried. I got like 10 minutes in. And I was like, you know
I heard it
what?
was something special.
It was like it was. Well, my son,
The
my
debates
oldest
are
had
turning
to.
into a show. Like, it's
Yeah, it was
not
like a TV show. It really was, and my son had to watch it for
school.
school. Yeah, and so I kind of peeked in and was watching, and he was rolling. He was like, "This is comical." I was like, "Yeah, it is very much so," but I couldn't watch it. So what we'll probably do, well, this is what we'll do. We're gonna just go throughout like how you started in the field that you're in, and a little bit about your background, what you did tell us in the questionnaire. You said you started singing and performing like at 8.
Started dancing.
Third grade.
Dancing.
I was dancing I started dancing at the age of 8.
Okay, all right. Are you from this area?
I mean, I guess if you want to call it the tri-state
Right. Yeah.
area, but I'm originally from Caswell County,
Uh-huh.
little bitty
That's okay.
town.
Yeah, never heard of it.
I think I want to say I know a
You
little
know
bit
Danville?
about Danville.
Danville,
Yeah,
Virginia?
Virginia. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
30 minutes south
It's Castle.
of East Caswell County. Literally, it is bright leaf tobacco country. It's,
Ah.
You know, church house, gin house, you know, that
Uh-huh.
that whole,
Right.
I mean, literally, there's 3 types of jobs in Caswell County. You either work retail, which is very few in between,
Hold that, because we're getting into it. So
okay.
you're feeling comfortable. It seems like you're
Oh, yeah.
into the groove. Yeah.
That's all
So
I did.
yeah, let's do it.
So what time?
We're gonna pre-record. This is all
yeah.
pre-recorded.
It's not
Oh,
loud.
So
so it's not live?
right.
Gotcha.
Now, if you want to go live on your phone, feel free.
I don't even know how to.
I can show you. If you want to do Facebook Live, a lot of people. No.
I'm kind of old school when it comes to the whole technology stuff.
It's not wrong with that.
Okay.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Hold on.
You need me to answer for you.
Okay, let's go.
You sure? You look frantic.
I am, because I don't know what's going on right now, but you know what? I'm at work. That's what I said. I'm at work. Call
It's not
somebody
the
else.
kids, is it?
No, because they have my
Okay.
mom's.
Okay.
Good.
Alright, we're gonna jump in because we got the introduction that we can
Yeah, we're gonna drop that introduction,
Okay.
Later. So
Okay.
you can go right
jump
on
right
in,
in.
yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna hit.
So we have an introduction intro that we use, but we drop that in later. So we just gonna go right on in, but before we do that, let me get a picture of me, you know. Feel free to get in if you want to, Mark.
We're gonna take more after,
Yeah, I just was doing
Hang on.
so it's just the pre. I'll
That's the
jump in
free,
for the pre.
yeah.
And then we can do one afterwards.
Right. Why is it so bright?
Because we got all these lights.
Okay, now one like not so. What? Look at your smile. That is nice. All right, thank you.
Get back to my.
All right, let's do this. Oh, look at the picture, y'all. Going up on the ground.
Today.
I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Christopher or Chris?
Chris.
Chris.
Okay.
Alright, hello everyone and welcome back. Today's guest is Chris. And Chris, go ahead and let's have you introduce yourself to the listeners.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Chris Wiles and I am from the Burlington, Elon area. I have been a performer for almost 24 years.
Wow.
I got at the start at the age of 8. I was a dancer for about 17 years, and after 17 years was feeling I was in a rut, and I felt like I needed to broaden my horizon, and so I started singing and doing stand-up comedy and doing it in the fashion of the 1920s and 1930s vaudeville and burlesque shows.
Okay. So just to jump in real quick with that, so what is burlesque shows? What is that?
Burlesque, actually, we back up a bit. We have to go to vaudeville before we get to the burlesque.
Let's do that.
Vaudeville was a period of time. It was a 50-year period that lasted from about 1880 till about 1930. And basically, what these were variety shows. They included everything from jazz and blues singers to dancers to animal acts to circus acts, sideshow performers. And occasionally, that's when they would bring in the striptease performers. That's where the whole burlesque came into play.
Okay.
Burlesque is basically, it's
My brother had his own set of issues going on.
Okay.
And your mother was able to make a positive situation out of what she had. You know, there were certain days, you know, really we didn't even know what we were going to eat. But my mom always had a fresh meal on the table that she cooked, even though she was getting beat sometimes if he thought it wasn't hot enough. She was able to make a positive out of a negative. For a long time, I couldn't see the good that she did because of the anger that I held on to.
Yeah.
And so we have a much better relationship now that I've resolved that, and I'm able to walk other people through the anger that they feel.
That's good. Is that what led you into behavioral health?
I don't think it really led me. It was just something. That was one of my first jobs I had. I think when I was 16, I had two. My first job was I was a law clerk for Judge Joe Brown, who at the time was a judge in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second job, I worked with kids who had Down syndrome. So I liked that, and so.
Okay, no, that's good because just for the listeners, that you can see her strength just when she walked in. So you know how people have that aura,
Okay.
you know, around them. So it was obvious because I think we all see people who walk with confidence and then
Okay.
people who don't.
Okay. Well, thank you for that because I don't view myself that way.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you,
cousin. So with that, with the conversations that you have with people and you to dive into the more behavioral health side of things, does that become difficult at times for you, even when you think about your upbringing and some of the things you endured, or is that almost therapy for you by helping them?
Well, there is a part, I think, that even with when you heal somebody, there's a part internally, you know, that you heal yourself daily by helping other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you have those conversations, they are a way of you that you always heal yourself, because healing is not instantaneously. It's always a process. So we'll always be healing from something until we transition into whoever we're going to be or do whatever we're going to do next. So yes, there's always something therapeutic about the conversations. Where I learn as well as whoever I'm talking to, they learn as well.
When I met you, I was working in behavioral health too, but as a teacher, right? So I can remember when you would come in with your client and you would sit over to the left, right? You had your. That's where you was gonna sit all the time. Don't get in her seat, because that's where she is sitting every day, because she would come to the class every day with her client. And that was a huge lesson for me working in that type of environment, because you said when you help people, you're really helping yourself. Because I would just be teaching with such passion for them to learn, and they couldn't obtain it, right? And so I remember, like, you kind of, like, I felt like you was kind of looking at me like, girl, they are not going to learn this. And I was all like, you know, like doing all that. But I learned that sometimes people are only at a level where, and they're not going to go any further. And it's okay. I stopped being upset that they was, you know, not getting it.
Because they can't.
He was like, I remember one time you was just like, girl, I'm glad you finally caught on.
To you?
Because I was like coming in there like, you remember what we did yesterday? And she was sitting over there like, like she just don't even know these clients are not going to catch on. And so I was fine with it. I'm like, let's do some art projects or something.
So you was being nice. You was just sitting back.
There in the same spot every day, you know. And then I started talking to her, because it was a while we didn't speak or anything. Well, I say, hey, good morning, you know, and then you would just sit there. And then after a while, you know, when both of us
I probably wasn't woke.
So it's early in the morning. Where the coffee?
There,
Where the coffee at?
Maybe like 5 hours. He was in that classroom with
And
me.
you know, she was something.
Yeah.
I was.
No,
This
Oh,
is
no.
about
that
the
client.
client.
Oh my gosh, I remember your client. Oh gosh, yeah. She was something.
She was one that would beat her parents.
Yeah, she would beat her parents.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a group. Woo. We did have a group, but yeah. So I learned that sometimes people are where they are, and you just gotta just deal with it and don't be upset. I stopped being upset. I stopped, giving it all that energy that I was giving it, and it was okay. So yeah, that's what behavior health do for you, though. You learn how to act accordingly.
Simplify it.
And it's so many people that thinks they're not in like a mental health state. They're not aware of it, but you can pick it out. Like, oh yeah, she has mental issues. Yeah,
very easily.
Yeah, because you've been around it for a while.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you run into that. So at least there's people you interact with and from the conversation. Are there key words that you pick up on, or is it more of a physical?
No, it's usually, not to make fun of it, but you can tell it. It's like you can have like a minute conversation with some of them. Now, some of them they've had brain trauma, and you're not going to pick it up right away. But some people, that they need a medical code in their chart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right away.
Let's talk about the brain trauma. Only because I've heard and read a couple of articles, and I'm upset that I can't recall which ones, but they talk about individuals who have some type of trauma to the brain. It completely changes them and who they are. So they go from being one way, let's say for their first 20 years, they have an accident where there's trauma to the brain, and now they're completely different.
Yeah.
The way they interact, the way they approach life in general, and a lot of times it can be more of a detriment to them because they are approaching things at a way that is more aggressive, and they're a lot more blunt, terse, direct. I mean, they just saying whatever with no regards to people's emotions and feelings. What's the truth in that? Or
well, I think I don't know much about TBI except that anytime the brain is hit or damaged, there's a portion, especially if it has to be removed, as there's a portion of something that you're not ever going to get back again, that is gone. But when I was listening to you, I was like, but we've gone through TBI all of our lives of living, because most of us have gone through some type of trauma, and we are daily reshaping our brains on a daily basis as to how we think and hold energy in our central nervous system. We've been doing that because, whether we are diagnosed or not, we have all gone through some type of trauma.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback off of that because it was a client named Keith, and I don't know if you remember him, but his story was such a compelling story when I heard it. He went into the prison system, and he wasn't born with mental illness. It was such a traumatic experience for him when he was in prison. He came out with the mental illness. Right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, but you could tell he withdrew within himself.
Yeah, and that's what causes schizophrenia.
Right. So he was like even his body was like drawn in like this, and he would sit like this in the chair, and he'll like have his head tilted. Everything about him was like within, and but nobody would ever try to have eye contact with him. Nobody would ever make sure he speaks and say good morning, and so. Because they was used to him being inwards. So you know me. I'm like, I'm going to get him to speak today. He's going to say something today.
Today?
He's going to say something today.
He's going to say something today. Because when I heard his story, I was like, oh, so he's in there. So in my mind, I'm like, yo, he's in there. Like, I just got to reach him. You know?
It's like he's dormant. And you have to.
Absolutely, yeah. And it took a while. And I would say, "Good morning, Keith. Good morning, Keith." And he'll look away because he don't know eye contact because he was used to not giving eye contact when he was in prison, And so I would be like, "Good morning, Keith. Good morning," like trying to follow his eyes because he would like go like that. One day he looked up. He said, "Good morning." And then he went back down.
Oh, yeah, I remember that right there. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah, that was Keith. I was like, yeah, I did it. But yeah, so he didn't have a head injury. It was just a traumatic experience that made him.
You never know what was done to him while he was in prison.
Yeah.
That part.
That part.
Yeah. But it's interesting how the brain will operate a certain type of way accordingly to the environment that's around them, And then how you get stuck in that way. Because he's not in prison anymore, but he still acts like he's in prison.
And speaking of being stuck, I want to say something with that. That's why we should, as a community, we should always, and I think women, we do well because we're going to always find somebody we're going to talk to about stuff we're going through. Men, not so much, I think. I think men are getting better, but we've got to learn how to support each other as a community or find somebody to talk to, because that stuff, when you hold on to it, your cells are holding on to that trauma, and it stays with you until you release it.
Yeah.
So you've got to learn how to release that stuff.
So is that called the pain body? I think
The
it's
what?
the pain body is when you have emotions that attach onto different type of cells in your body because you haven't released that energy. So it has to go somewhere because energy transfers, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't transfer that emotion outwards, it'll stay dormant in your body and it'll hold on to different cells.
Now, I've not heard of that, but that does make sense.
It's called pain body.
Okay.
Sometimes it transforms into like ulcers, transform
Yes.
into cancer.
Yes, yes.
Well, isn't that why
Yes.
men, our lifespan is shorter than women because of that?
Probably.
Probably because you guys don't talk
We
enough.
don't talk. You don't
Right.
talk
release
about
enough of the
We're
stuff
not
that you're
releasing
going
that.
through.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And society plays a part in that. The discussion we had, society tries to define what a man is as well as a woman, and then it programs us to where we start to allow it to infiltrate the way we think, and now we start walking that line, not realizing the damage, that it's doing to us. Because I know, just thinking about growing up, if you start to cry, it's like, stop that. Where female friends of mine, it was okay to cry, but if you cry, you were weak.
Yeah,
You
that's one of
start to
our
cry.
first. That's one of our first probably introductions to trauma is when we cry or express ourselves and we're immediately popped.
Yeah.
And as
Yes.
a child, that's the introduction to trauma in a child's life.
Oh, stop crying.
Stop crying.
Before I give you something to
To
cry
give you a
for.
reason to cry for.
Like, what is that?
Yeah,
I already got a reason. So I'm crying.
My finger.
But when you think about it, it's the parent or whoever is dealing with the child, they just don't see it as a reason for why they're crying. But I'm sure any child is like, I'm not crying just to be crying. How are we looking with time?
Got 10 minutes. I can give you like 2 more minutes
Okay.
if you need that.
Okay. So I do want to touch on. Let's go back because we was talking about masculine and feminine energy.
Yes.
Is it okay for a man to have a little bit of feminine energy, and is it okay for a woman to have a little bit of masculine energy?
I think we all do. Some just have more than others, depending. I think some men, some men may have more than others based on their environment. But, and again, for some people that does work. You may see extremely feminine women with masculine men, then you may see a very feminine man with a very masculine woman. So it's just what works for that person.
Okay.
But for those of us that, this is not how we think it should be, as in anything, we have the option to change it and recreate what we want our life to look like.
Okay. Okay, so since we're like pressed on time, I do want to talk about the ancestors.
Yes.
Because I know that you talk a lot about that. And can you kind of elaborate on what that energy is and how are we listening to them? How are they a part of our lives?
Okay, I'll try to make it as simple as possible and just not make it too difficult. Who we are is based on the bloodline that we've been born into. So, say for instance, I'm sure you have a lot of female women in your family, right? So I'm sure that there are members of your bloodline that have either passed on, and your family is going to say, "Well, you act just like so and so." That is the DNA that is within all of us of our bloodline. So every time we come and we are rebirthed and we come and we are in a body, we have a spiritual experience in our body, but there's something about us that our ancestors live within us. Now, there's also a lot of people don't agree with the concept, but we can also connect with them. It's the same thing as the Bible says. There's a great cloud of witnesses. You can feel the presence if you're open to it. You can feel the presence of people being around you. That may come in the form of nature. It may become in a voice that you hear when you sleep at night. It may be somebody coming to you in your dream, but your ancestors are spirits that walk the earth. I believe, and they're around you all the time, and you have the ability to tap into that as well to help you while you're here. And it's nothing spooky or scary about it. It's the same things you saying when somebody down, grandmama, can you watch over me while you gone?
Yeah.
Okay, that's you asking for your ancestral strength. You know, it's nothing spooky or deep, in my opinion, about it. It's just you accessing who you are.
Yeah. No, I like that because I think it's, you said, as people being open to it, because I think we cut ourselves off from being open to things that are spiritual, but we're open to, just when you think about being able to talk to someone who's not here by using a device, a cell phone, but they're in a whole nother country. We can accept that.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's because we can see
great.
it, you know, but we won't accept the fact that spiritually, you know, we're connected with so much more because we are a force of energy.
Yes.
They say, you know, as many atoms as it is that makes up a star, we possess the same amount.
Exactly.
But people don't want to make that acknowledgement. They believe the fact, oh, man can fly. You know, and then you think about the fact back in when those concepts were first being spoke about, I'm sure it was pushed away and said, no, what are you talking about? Man is not meant to fly, but here we are. We're flying. We're even jumping out of planes and parachuting and, gliding and just all the different approaches to it. And I was also thinking, too, a thought I had when we were talking about the masculinity and femininity as far as with men and women. Everyone is a woman at first. So everyone starts off with X and X. And then, from men, then we form the Y to become men. But we all start off. So I wonder if that's a part of it, too, for some men. They just kind of hold on to a little bit more than that. And then even when you think about the characteristics, the traits of the father and the mother, the fact, is 46 total chromosomes. You get 23 from each parent. Are you just pulling more?
You know what? I've never thought about it that way, but that's an excellent perspective because you could, if your father had a lot of with feminine energy, I can see that. I can see that being a possibility.
And it's just carrying
and
over.
And it just carries on through your bloodline. So. I'd never thought of it that way, but it does make sense.
It's just curiosity, especially when you look at, because just as there's so many different types of women, you have so many different types of men. And that's why I always say you can't define either one. It's all in the perspective of the individual. So the way I define a woman is not the way the next man defines a woman. The same way, I'm sure the two of you were to write down your definition of a man, there'll be some similarities, but there'll be differences as well because you look at it differently. So that's why I always am ready to debate when someone makes a claim on what a man should be, or even when a man makes a claim on what a woman should be.
Yeah.
So. Because it's all in, as they say, like the eye of the beholder, with all of it, your perspective to it. And that comes from, I don't even know if that's more of when you think of like nurture versus nature, is that more of what has been taught to you, how you define, the other gender, or is it based on your experiences? And if you've dealt with a lot of negative experiences, then how is that shaping your image of a man or the image of a woman? And then I think that's where you come into play, where you can help someone discover, those traits that they've taken on and have them to acknowledge it and then make steps to improve on that, because this is not just a benefit for them, but it's a benefit for everyone to interact with moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think what you're doing is phenomenal. I think it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So what's in the future for Elise?
Well, right now, my website is up, and I am accepting coaching clients.
And what's your website?
It is www.authentic. The word authentic as in authentic apples, chains, and authentic Elise. .com, ALISE. So I'll say that again. It's www.authenticalise.com.
And what's your social media platforms?
I'm currently on Twitter, and Instagram.
And what's your
On
name
the
up there?
gram. Same thing, Authentic Elise.
Okay. All right. That's wonderful.
On the gram.
Yeah. And before we go, do you have any wise words you want to give the audience?
Any takeaways for them?
It was something that I said today that I may think of. The next level of who you are is outside of your ability to be comfortable. So if you want to grow, your growth is beyond your current comfort zone. You want me to say that again? Okay. Your next level of growth is outside the place that you're currently calling your comfort zone. So when you're ready to grow and grow beyond that, step outside your current comfort zone. And I still didn't say it right.
What? Step outside your comfort zone.
Step outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
And you know a lot of people that can't do that. That's why they're going to call you. Because they need some help.
To get help with that. But that's the great thing about it. So, no, I like that because I do think that's the difficult thing. And I think we all see ourselves as something other than who we are at times in our lives. And if we, like you said, if we can't step outside that comfort zone, then we won't achieve who we want to be in life. And personally, both professionally, personally, relationship-wise, all of those different aspects of life.
Yeah, because there are some things I definitely need to work on. That if I'm going to grow beyond it, I've got to step outside what I've been doing and become uncomfortable with where I am comfortable right now, so that I can grow.
Right. I like that. I like that saying. All right.
All right. Well, it was great to be here.
It was.
Yes.
It was. We
All right,
enjoyed
hopefully
it.
you guys will have me back. I enjoyed
Oh,
it.
I was just about to say we will definitely have you back. We want to keep up with some of your growth, the things you're doing, and especially here in the community with programs you have, and even just hearing the additional experiences and everything. So.
Good.
And maybe you could do a reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes.
quite welcome.
Thank you. All right. Well, everyone, let's wrap this one up.
Thank you for listening.
Yes.
You're welcome.
That was good.
Good. That was a great conversation.